Welcome to Sinema, the movie and television podcast show that talks about everything dirty, mean, and nasty.
It rubs the lotion on its skin.
In Hollywood and beyond. If it's sin, we're in. I am Brandon Luna.
I'm Randy Rankin.
And this show's a little different than what you might be used to. If you know us from Calypso Cigar Review, guess what? We're still at the Calypso Cigar Shop and Lounge in Richardson, Texas. But now we're talking about movies. This show is dedicated to movies and television with a specific little, I don't know, what would you say?
A little
niche?
Niche. Yes.
Yeah.
And we will scratch that niche.
We are going to scratch it till
That's
it's
right.
bleeding red. So we're talking mostly about movies and television that have a lot of sin in them because we like sin.
There's a lot of it out there.
Mm-hmm. And sin's in.
And while we are at a cigar shop and we're smoking cigars, this is not a cigar show.
Nope.
This is a movie show.
It is a
and
movie
TV
show. But for those people that are used to us from the Calypso Cigar Shop and Lounge, we got a special segment for you. It's called Cigars in Cinema, and that's coming soon. But let's start off with our topic of the day, 80s sex comedies.
Nice.
That's where we're going to start.
There you go.
So we're going to talk about movies in the 80s that were kind of the driving force behind the 90s sex scene. The 80s kind of started off with a lot of teen romps and a lot of really raunchy B-grade comedies that had a lot of sex in them.
Yeah. That
And
you would see on like HBO or Cinemax at nighttime and stuff
They
like
showed
that.
at the theaters very briefly. Probably one of the biggest ones was Porky's that actually did a lot of business in Fast Times. But for the most part, these were staples on HBO. And I grew up watching these and I loved them over and over again.
Yep. Yeah. So do we have a list of these things?
We do have a list, and it's quite extensive. So we're going to start pretty early in the 80s with Private Lessons from 1981.
Is that Sylvia Crystal and...
It has the chick from Emmanuel, yes.
Yeah, Sylvia Crystal, yes. Loved her. And, yeah, that was one of my first ones that I saw where I got to see nudity.
Yeah.
And was, like, very excited. And,
You have another letter? Mine went
yeah,
out.
it was one of those that parents would go away and I'd turn on the TV hoping one of those shows would be on. This is back in the day when you could leave your 12-year-olds at home and nobody would say anything about it. But, yeah, that was a big one for me. That was that. Yeah, that one got it going. My Tutor.
My Tutor was another one,
Yeah.
Stripes, 81, also had a lot of TNA in it. So Beach Girls I never saw. I wasn't familiar with that one. But Fast Times, Ridgemont High was kind of one of the first ones that really blew the doors off of it in 82.
Yep.
Had a lot of nudity in it and a lot
Phoebe
of...
Cates has left the pool.
Yes, big giant thing with Phoebe Cates that became very iconic.
Absolutely.
And really it was, a lot of teen sex in that movie, which they kind of shy away from nowadays. That kind of came back with like American Pie.
Yeah.
But for the most part it was pretty vacant after the 80s.
Right.
It went from 80s being all the teen sex romps to 90s being the adults getting it on. So
Right.
we'll talk about that in a later episode. Going All the Way was a big one also. It was
Tom Cruise, right?
actually bigger on cable than it was in film. It was
Right.
one of those ones that just kind of went at the theater, but
Right.
then on cable it was all over the damn place. You couldn't get away from watching that movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a big one for Tom Cruise. And
I'm trying to remember. Was it Daniel Stern? No, who was it?
No, the girl. Who was the girl?
Shelley Long, right?
Shelley Long.
That's right, Shelley Long.
Shelley Long of Cheers fame.
Just prior to Cheers
in
fame.
a dirty
but-
girl role.
Yeah. Yeah, I never was a Shelley Long fan of her looks.
I thought she looked pretty good in Night Shift.
Okay.
And that was probably the height of her hotness because she
Right.
had a great ass in that. So Last American Virgin was a big one for me. That was in 82. And that was one of those ones that was just kind of a heartbreaker. Did you ever see that?
Last American Virgin? I don't think so, no.
Oh, you got to see Last American Virgin. It's one of those ones that did not have the Hollywood ending.
Really?
It just broke your heart at the end of that movie,
no.
and it's a great one.
For
But it
80s?
is-
80s are such a feel-good decade.
yeah,
you
I know. It went
Yeah.
against the grain, man. It was probably the most realistic of the 80s sex rom-coms, that were just out there.
Right.
Porky's hit in 82, which was a big success.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones that I remember Playboy doing a big thing about it because all the girls that were naked in the shower scene and stuff and the guy's wanky being pulled through the hole. You remember that? And then Scott Baio got in the act.
Zapped?
Zapped.
Yep.
Was
With Heather
82
Thomas.
with Heather Thomas.
Yes.
And there's pictures of her boobs right there.
Oh, nice.
Gotta love that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You guys can't see it. Too bad for you.
But you can find it somewhere,
You can
I'm
find
sure.
it,
Yeah.
So this list is actually on filmsite.org, so we want to give them a shout out. They have Sex and Films, which is a great way to find a list of all the films, and they actually tell you what some of the sex acts were in the film.
Right.
So
Now,
that's kind of interesting.
83, a big movie, big mainstream movie that I wouldn't call it sex, but had great nudity in it, was Trading Places. That's when we first got to see the Jamie Lee Curtis rack.
Yep.
And what a rack it was.
It was a very, very nice rack. Yes. Very nice rack.
Yeah.
There's a movie called Joysticks. I mean, that's just built into the title right there.
There you go.
A sexy nerd movie with video games and stuff in it. Losing It in 83. My Tutor in 83.
Another good one.
That was a big one, yeah. Risky Business.
Oh, yeah.
Another
Tom
Cruise
one I was trying to
sex
think of.
movie.
Yeah.
Yep. So 80s was a big time for those teen rom-coms. Spring Break. Never saw that one. Bachelor Party in 84.
Tawny Katane.
And the very famous now, the main guy. Come on.
Oh, well, Tom Hanks,
Yeah,
obviously.
Tom
But
Hanks.
I'm not thinking of the girls. I'm not thinking of Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, in Monique Gabriel
Yeah.
was in that, yeah.
I love the scene. I
Oh,
always
it's
remember
actually
the scene.
Monique Gabriel's body, but it was Tawny Katane's face.
Yeah.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yep. And that scene where they changed all the different faces on it.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah.
That was cool.
That was one of the best, I think, still to this day, one of the best Tom Hanks comedies. Just
Yeah.
really, really funny, really off the wall, really went for it and did some crazy things.
Yeah,
in
that really got him going. That
it did.
and Bosom Buddies about the same time, and yeah, he was off and running.
And then a big one here in 84, Blame It on Rio.
Loved it.
Loved it.
You know, that girl, Michelle Johnson, I think's her name is, she's married to a former Major League Baseball player. I think Matt Williams, I think's his name.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if they're married anymore, but I know they were married throughout the 90s. And
I think it was a big deal when that movie came out because she was actually underage.
Was she really?
And she was naked in the movie.
Well, I was underage when I watched it, so I'm okay.
Yeah. But, the scene that they show her naked in is not a sex scene, as
It's
it
just
were.
a topless scene.
Topless scene of them on the beach, so it was
Michael
okay.
Caine was very funny in that because he's trying
Yeah.
to hide the affair he's having with his buddy's daughter. And
Yep.
Joseph Bologna was the dad. I liked that movie. It was actually a funny movie too, on top of the good stuff.
then
Oh,
another-
Demi Moore actually was
Yep.
topless in that.
Yes, she was. Another big one in the 80s, Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, yeah. Anthony Edwards.
Ton
Yeah.
of nudity in that
Yep.
movie. Some great nudity in that movie.
Yes.
Panty Raid in that movie.
Nice.
Where the Boys Are in 84, The Big Bet. I don't think
The
I've ever
Big
seen
Bet
that
was the one I was thinking of. The Big Bet is awesome. It's got Sylvia Crystal from Emmanuel, Monique Gabriel. There's an elevator scene with Monique Gabriel where the guy's fantasizing about doing her in an elevator.
Oh, yeah?
Really good scene.
Never seen it, no.
Nice.
Never seen it.
Yeah.
Private Resort in 85. I slightly remember that.
I think of one. I'm not even looking at the list. Hot Dog, the movie.
Hot Dog the movie, yeah.
Yeah, Shannon
That's
Tweed.
A good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole page on Shannon Tweed.
Sure.
Tomboy in 85, and that was kind of a fun one for one of those different movies at that time. One Crazy Summer, I don't remember really being nudity in that, but I guess there was apparently. Spring Fever USA, which is really super low budget.
I think
movie.
I've seen it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so that's the list right there. So let's talk a little bit about which ones you think kind of really spoke to you as a kid,
The Big Bet.
if you know what I mean.
The Big Bet.
The Big Bet.
Yeah, there's a lot in that movie. I liked Private Lessons. I was like, why couldn't I get someone to
Yeah,
teach me like
Class
that?
was a big one too.
Class
Rob
with
Lowe.
Jacqueline Bisset.
Yeah.
Although they
Jacqueline
never
Bisset
showed
hotness.
her in that, though.
No, they didn't, but it was.
But they
still-
showed Virginia Madsen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they may have showed Jacqueline Bisset's butt in that.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah, too
'Cause
bad.
she was hot.
She was hot. Yeah, she was
Smoking
very
hot.
hot.
Yeah, see, that was the age where I'm in 13, 14, 15. So you're fantasizing all the time anyway. And then
Yeah.
you'd see these movies that these fantasies were coming true. You're like, why?
I know. Why can't it be me, Penthouse?
Why can't I have that happen to me?
And that's what a lot of these movies seem like. They seem like they were Penthouse form letters come
So
to
they're turned
life.
into
Like
movies,
Risky
yeah.
Business was all about the Penthouse form
Oh, yeah.
letter.
Oh, yeah.
The scene with him and her on the
My
train.
Tutor's the same thing.
It's just like, yeah, My Tutor, big
Oh, yeah.
time. I mean, God.
I have a funny story about my tutor.
All right, go for
My
it.
aunt and uncle and my mom and dad, they were all... My mom and my aunt taught drill team.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad and uncle coached separate football teams. And me and my cousin were closer. They were coaching my younger brother's teams. And so my cousin, whom I'm the closest in age with, we got to stay at the house. And we're flipping TV, and My Tutor was on. And I'm thinking this might be the first time he'd ever seen boobs on because he's like jumping up and down and just going bananas. There's a scene where this girl takes off her top in a car. I don't know who she, brunette. It wasn't the girl that was doing the tutoring. This was a different girl. And he's just going nuts. And I'm like, calm down, man, calm down. Look, just enjoy the scene, man. He's like, look. And he's just going nuts. All of a sudden, we hear the front door open, and we can't find the remote.
Oh,
We're
no.
trying to turn it off because I was raised, my mom and my aunt were very religious, and we weren't allowed to watch anything like that, which I'm sure you shouldn't let your kids watch that anyway,
No.
probably. But, man,
How old was he?
He was like 12, and I was like 13.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's the remote. So I finally just run up, just slammed
Slam
the,
the TV,
TV
just
off.
turn the TV off.
we didn't get busted, thank
That's
goodness.
good,
But that was
that's
scary, though. But my aunt's like, what's the matter with you? Because my cousin's just like, he's still just going bananas.
He's like, I gotta go to my room. Do you remember the first movie you saw boobs in? It was really kind of...
Yeah. Actually, it wasn't even a movie, and I think we talked about it on our other show. It was during a trailer. We went to see Saturday Night Live. Not Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Fever. Saturday Night Fever. And during the trailer, they showed him a clip from the movie The Betsy. And this chick getting out of the pool, butt-ass naked. And I was like, during a trailer. And then there was, of course, nudity in Saturday Night Fever. But technically, the first boobs I saw in a movie was that clip from The Betsy.
Wow.
And on a trailer. They don't show nudity in trailer anymore.
They have red band trailers every once in a while.
You don't see
Well, every once in a while. I've been to a couple of theaters that showed red band trailers, and you did see. I saw a red band trailer for Hot Tub Time Machine at the theater, and they showed the scene with the girl in the hot tub with the what's his name, the black guy. I can't remember his name, but they showed boobs in that. So, but anyway,
I don't remember.
I think one of the first ones I saw boobs in the theater was probably Stripes. Went and saw Stripes in the theater.
Oh, okay.
And my mom was like trying to cover my eyes, and I'm like, hey, there's boobs. Wait, I gotta see them.
Well, my mom watched soap operas. And I remember I can't remember, I think she played Casey or something. There was a girl, a real pretty blonde on Young and the Restless. And I just had the biggest crush on her. Well, she was the girl that leaves Bill Murray at the beginning. And you kind of see her boobs at and then she's getting dressed and she leaves him. And he has that great line where you can't leave, the plants will die. That's a great line. Yeah. But anyway, I was like, I got to see Casey's boobs or whatever her name was on Young and the Restless. So that was kind of cool. I was happy. I was happy.
Were you happy?
I was happy.
Fast Times was the other one for me. Fast Times was the other second one that I saw boobs in. Extensive, a lot of boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
probably Private Lessons was the first one because they kept showing the trailer for it, and so I couldn't wait for my parents to be gone one day when please let that be on so I could finally watch it.
Yeah,
it was fun. The bathtub scene. There was a good bathtub scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Lucky kid.
Lucky. No shit,
bastard.
Right?
He was in a lot of those movies, you know?
He was, yeah, he was.
You know, the kid in my tutor went on to marry Olivia Newton-John. At
what?
One point. Yeah, Matt Lattanzi was his name.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he married Olivia Newton-John. Yeah.
What a dick.
Yeah, he is, because then I don't know the story, but I'm going to get it wrong, but you can Google it. It's an interesting story. He then disappeared and almost faked his death or something later on. It was something weird like that. And
the hell, was a mob after him or something?
I don't know, but she didn't hear from him for years, and she thought he was dead or something. It's something weird like that. I'm not getting the story exactly right, but it was a weird story.
Interesting.
Yeah, pretty weird.
Pretty strange indeed.
Yeah, I have to look that up again now because I don't remember what the hell the details were. But another one that I really liked was called They're Playing with Fire.
I don't think I've seen that. What was that about?
Sybil Danning. Remember her? She was another one of those 80s.
Great pair of tits.
Yeah,
just an enormous rack.
And she was a school teacher, and she's kind of tied in with the mob. And it was the same kid from Private Lessons. Yeah. He's a little older now. And she's kind of seducing him to get him to kind of play along so she can kind of utilize him to be the buffer between the mob that's trying to put a hit out on her and stuff like that. Or something like that. Who cares about the plot? You saw her naked a lot, so that was kind of cool. That was another big one for me.
There was a funny, I'm trying to think which, there was The Howling. Remember the movie The Howling? Well, they did a couple sequels, and I want to say it was the second one that Sybil Danning was in where she played the head of the lead, werewolf or whatever.
Right.
And there's a scene in the movie, she only gets naked for like a brief moment. She rips her top off, full on boobs, and you're like, yes, and then that's it. She's not naked the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But then at the end, during the credits, there's like a montage of scenes in the movie while this like punk band's playing, and they show her rip her shirt off, that same scene like 15, 20 times in a row. And you're just like, okay, I can work with that.
Nice.
So I was just like, some editor was just like, she wasn't naked enough in the movie. Let's put a whole bunch of that in there. It was great.
Well, in the next segment, I thought of another great one.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
Well, we'll talk about it in the next segment.
All right, we'll be right back.
That was a tease.
That is the tease. That's called the tease. We've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. All right, we're back for segment 2 of Sinema. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the 80s movies that we saw with lots of boobs and stuff. And then we're going to shift gears a little bit to cigars and cinema. So what was some other 80s ones you were going to mention?
We missed a big one, Dressed to Kill.
Dressed
Angie
to
Dickinson
Kill.
And I can't
Angie
remember.
Dickinson body double in the shower.
But that shower scene was amazing.
Phenomenal.
And I had heard that the opening scene, and it was right at the opening scene, and I knew about this.
Yeah.
And I knew what time it was going to come on. We had on TV. That was that box thing.
Yeah.
That's where HBO started. It was a box thing, and it's all you could get was either on TV, Showtime, or HBO. And you couldn't have all 3 boxes. You could only have one box. Well, my parents always ahead of the curve. picked on TV because, boy, that one lasted forever.
Right.
Unlike HBO and Showtime, whatever happened to those shows.
Right. Who knows what
those
they
channels. But so we had on TV, and I knew that Dress to Kill was going to come on at 8. And my mom and dad were out doing something with my brothers, and I'm just like hoping they're going to be late, I want to see the shower scene. I've heard so much about it. And because I was sick.
Okay.
Or maybe I was pretending to be sick. I don't know. But anyway, that's why they left me at home. And so 8 o'clock rolls around, man. I turn on the TV, and I'm watching it, and I got just to the shower scene was ending. Well, my mom, being the way she is, somehow knew that Dress to Kill was coming on at 8, and she knew that I knew about this scene. So she comes running up the stairs. So I turn the TV off, and I can jump in my bed, so I'm looking like I'm sick, Well, that machine got hot. That box got hot. So Mom turns on the TV. She sees that Dress to Kill is on, puts her hand on the box. The box is hot. So she comes storming in the room. Did you watch that shower scene? I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, the machine's hot. I'm like, Dad, I guess, saved my ass because he goes, yeah, that doesn't mean the TV was on. He goes, it was hot the other day when I turned it on. I think it's just a bad machine. Thank you, Dad. Because he knew. He knew I was watching that scene.
Right. And that's one of those scenes you got to be careful with if you're going to watch it, if you know what I mean, because it's like great for the first couple minutes and you're like, yeah. And then it gets slashy, blood. You're like, no.
See, I didn't know about that. So I'm freaking out like, what the
fuck? She's sitting there pleasuring herself in the shower, and now she's getting killed. What the hell is this crap? Yep.
That had another hottie in her. Her name was Debra Shelton. And she was on Dallas for a while, and I loved her in Dallas. And when I saw that she was in there, I was like, yeah, but then I realized it was oh, wait, no, I'm thinking of a different movie. I'm thinking of Body Double. And
Body
think of a Body Double.
Big one,
That's the one that Debra Shelton was in.
Yeah.
And so you think you're seeing her boobs the whole time, and it's really not. It's Melanie Griffiths the whole time. But so it wasn't her boobs.
That had some serious sex in it. That movie was like all kinds of porn, practically, basically.
Brian De Palma again. Yeah, he was really big into that.
He was big into that. Big one in '88 was Dangerous Liaisons, the first time we get to see Uma Thurman's little globes.
Nice.
And they were fantastic at that time. She looked fantastic naked at that time, so that was awesome. And it's actually a good movie. I like that movie a lot. I think it's a pretty darn good flick.
Well, we mentioned Tawny Kitaen earlier, and I'm thinking of a couple of hers. One was called Crystal Heart.
Crystal Heart. Wow.
That scene through the glass was hot.
That was hot.
That was hot.
Perils of Gwendola.
Oh, and they landed a yik yak. Yes, definitely. And then
Witchboard.
Witchboard.
Yeah, was she naked in Witchboard?
Yeah, so a nice shower scene with her.
Okay.
Not quite as good as the Dress to Kill one, but still nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a hottie. And before she turned nuts and beat up her baseball husband. She had a baseball husband also and beat the crap out of him. But yeah. And I interviewed that director, but we have no footage of it. That sucks.
Yep.
But
maybe we'll get him at one of the other events. We'll see.
Yeah, that was cool. But he did that funny line. I said, what was your favorite part about making the movie or something like that? And he mentioned him getting it. I said, mine was seeing Tawny Kitaen naked. He goes, well, I can't say that, but that definitely was a big plus. That's for the director and writer.
Right, exactly. Another big one in 1988 from Roger Corman was Not of This Earth. The reason that's a big one, Traci Lords' first legal movie, and it was a real movie, it wasn't a porn, where she was naked. So
I've never seen a Traci Lords porn. I don't even think I've seen Not of This Earth, to be honest.
Yeah. I've seen Not of This Earth, unfortunately.
Maybe I've seen a screen cap or something of it. But
Two Moon Junction was a big one.
Maureen,
there was a lot of those.
Maureen, what's her name? Maureen McGovern?
No, that was
not Maureen McGovern.
That chick from that movie with the people, Firewalk with Me and stuff. She was in the Twin Peaks.
Yeah, what was her name?
Twin Peaks stuff.
Shit. But about brunette.
Yeah, the brunette chick. Yeah. And that was a big one because that was right around the time that Zalman King was big, and he was doing all
Red
those
Shoe Diaries stuff.
Yeah, all the Red Shoe Diaries, and 9.5 Weeks was big in '86. That was a big one.
How did we forget 9.5 Weeks?
Yeah, can't forget 9.5 Weeks. Wild Orchid was in '89. That was another big one. That one, Wild Orchid. If you haven't seen Wild Orchid, check it out. Mickey Rourke supposedly really having sex with his co-star because they were dating at the time.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much tell. So
it's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious that they were doing it. So,
I was so disappointed in 9.5 Weeks because I wasn't old enough to know about kinky stuff like that. I just wanted to see Kim Basinger's boobs. That's all I wanted to see, and you don't really ever get a really great shot of them.
Yeah,
you get like side boob or she's laying back so they're folded. So
yeah,
I was like so disappointed. I just wanted to see her standing there naked so I could see see the shape and everything.
See what it's all made of.
Yeah.
And a big one. In 1988, 88 was a big year for a lot of. It was kind of the transition transition from the sex rom comedy to more plot driven stuff, and this was the first NC-17 movie.
Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
Nope, The Unbearable Lightness of Being.
That's the one I was thinking of.
That's the Unbearable Lightness of Being.
Yeah.
So big win for that one. It was NC-17. Actually, did pretty good at the box office for an NC-17 film. And then you had Henry and June.
Yeah.
So that was another big one at the same
and
time.
then you had those cheesy Burt Reynolds ones.
Mhm.
Like, what was it called? Mary Lou Hunter and...
The Sharky's Machine or whatever the hell.
No, it was like... Kim Basinger was in that too, but she wasn't naked. What's it called? The Man Who Loved Women.
Ah, yeah.
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 Yeah, when Burt Reynolds' career started to tank, he started doing those kind of movies. And
Want to see some
made it
Kim
tank.
Cattrall boobies? Masquerade. Watch that one.
Oh, yeah, Masquerade. I was thinking Mannequin. I'm like, she wasn't naked in Mannequin. Masquerade,
She
yes.
should have been.
Yeah, she was.
She should have been.
She used to be really hot. Once she got to Sex and the City days, I didn't think she was all that hot.
No, she
because that
was
mole
kinda
on her
past
face
her
kind of
prime.
got bigger, I think. It wasn't
Yeah.
very big in the 80s. It got bigger at wherever
Yep.
her mole is. I
It
don't remember where
definitely
her mole is.
did. So now we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about something that's near and dear to our hearts, cigars and cigars in cinema.
Nice.
There's a great website called cigarasylum.com, and it's a website. It's a forum for cigar smokers.
Okay.
And they have this ongoing list of cigars in cinema. The list is ridiculous.
What's your favorite one right off the top of your head?
I don't know.
You know what mine is?
What is yours? Oh, White Earp.
No, the scene there is one in that too, but the scene right before the final gunfight in Open Range.
Okay.
When Duvall and Costner are going by the chocolate and the cigars, and they're sitting there strategizing about how they're going to take on, because it's two of them against like 8 or 9 people. And it's just a really cool scene because they know they're going to die. I mean, they're assuming they're going to die. There's no way they're going to beat all these people. And so the last thing they want to do is enjoy this fine chocolate and smoke their cigars. I love that scene. It just sets up and I remember Roger Ebert saying that was the best he'd ever seen a Western gunfight laid out, because you never see him lay out the strategy like that. And just the fact that the cigar was kind of the common bond between the two of them right there was a very cool scene. I love that scene.
That's cool. Yeah. 1941 is the first
Yeah.
one on the list. John Belushi,
John Belushi,
chomping on a cigar pretty much the entire movie.
Yep.
Another one called A Few Good Men you might have heard of.
You can't handle the cigar.
That's right. And I think he's pretty much the only one chomping on a cigar in that movie. So, yeah.
Nicholson's a big cigar guy.
Anything with Groucho Marx.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's almost ridiculous.
Yep. Exactly. American Gangster, Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe both smoke cigars in that.
Never seen it.
Never seen it?
Seen parts of it, yeah.
Any Given Sunday, one of the worst football movies ever
One of
made.
the worst movies, period, ever
Yep.
made.
Al Pacino and Dennis Quaid and Cameron Diaz all smoke cigars in that movie.
Nice.
So that's a win-win
That's
right
very
there.
cool.
Bad Boys 2, I know that's one of your favorites. Batman and Robin, Arnold Schwarzenegger
Arnold
smokes a
smoking
cigar in that.
Well, Predator, he smokes a cigar in Predator, too, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be Cool.
I am. I'm trying to.
No, I'm talking about the sequel.
I know.
So, Get Shorty.
Michael Clark Duncan smoking cigars? Is that who
Yep.
it was? Yeah.
And and also, what's his name? Mr. John Travolta smokes cigars in that as well.
Did he?
Beverly Hills Cop, Eddie Murphy, Judge Reinhold, and John Astin all smoke cigars at the strip bar.
John Astin was in that? I
Yep.
totally forgot about him. Well, John Astin always smokes cigars. He smokes cigars on the Addams Family.
Oh, wait, John Ashton. Sorry.
Oh,
John
Ashton, I think. I was
The
going to
other
say,
guy
I
was
don't think
Taggart.
John Astin was.
No, it was the two guys that he was hanging out with the whole time.
Well,
Judge
John
Reinhold
Astin did
and-
smoke
yeah.
cigars on Addams Family.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. But was it Beverly Hills Cop 2? There was one of them where they're in a strip bar, and there is a very mannish-looking stripper. I remember that because it was like, you see boobs, and you're like, that's a nice pair of boobs, and she turns her face around, and you're like, whoa, that looks like a dude with a wig.
Yeah. I don't remember 2 very well at all. I remember the first one very well. I don't remember 2 very
I
well.
liked the first one. I thought the second one was okay. The third one was absolutely trash.
Yeah, I'm not.
Horrible.
I never saw the third
Horrible
one.
movie. Blade, Wesley Snipes and Chris Christopherson both smoke cigars in that.
All right.
Blazing Saddles is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
You got everybody smoking cigars in that damn thing.
Mel Brooks even at the no, he's in there with the Harvey Korman scene. No, that's
Yep.
Blazing. So, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Bubba Hotep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. Bruce Campbell and Ozzie Davis both smoking cigars on the patio there while they're waiting for death to come. Caddyshack, Chevy Chase and Ronnie Dangerfield, Ted Knight and Bill Murray all smoke cigars in that
Nice.
movie.
Yeah.
So that's good stuff.
Mhm.
Casablanca, we're going back.
Oh, yeah.
Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah, there were a lot of cigar smoking back then.
Yep. And yeah, it's kind of, it's dwindled now as you're getting into more modern films. They tend to kind of shy away from that thing.
Yeah.
But-
There's a real cool, it's a Western it's not in the Jimmy Stewart legendary Westerns, but it's a very entertaining Western called Cheyenne Social Club. Don't know if you've seen that. It's him and Henry Fonda. I mean, how do you go wrong with that?
Yeah.
But it's more of a comedy Western. I mean, not slapstick like Blazing Saddles or Support Your Local Sheriff or anything like that, but it's a comedy. And Jimmy Stewart inherits this land, or he inherits a piece of property. He doesn't know where it's at. He's a cowboy in Texas, and it's in Cheyenne. So he goes up there. Well, now he's a man of means because it comes to find out it's a brothel that he owns. So everyone in town hates him. But before they find that out, they treat him like royalty because he's got money. And there's a scene he shows up in a restaurant, in the saloon, and they bring him a big steak. And as soon as he finishes the steak, the guy brings him out a box of cigars, and he picks out a cigar and he's lighting it up, and he's all bragging, you know, because he's a man of importance now, you know. And it's kind of a funny scene. It's kind of cool.
Cool. So do you remember any specific movies that had cigars in them that you just kind of went, oh, man, I want to smoke that cigar?
Probably every time I've seen a movie with a cigar.
Do you do that now? I mean, I tend to do that.
Yeah, if you see something, like, oh, cool, they're smoking a cigar.
Yeah. I get to the point now where I know what they're smoking half the time.
Yeah, I
you know?
can do
If you
that
see a
too.
band, you're like, that's this. You know, it's like, boom, you know exactly what it is.
Yeah, a Friends episode was on the other day with Tom Selleck, and I could tell he was smoking a Monte Cristo.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's all he smokes, I think, right?
That's his favorite smoke.
Yeah.
But he's one of the budget conscious. Even though he's got the money, he refuses to spend $30 for a cigar. So good for him.
Interesting. Ghostbusters is a big one.
Oh, yeah. Totally
Yep.
forgot about Ghostbusters.
Yep. And pretty much every James Bond movie since Roger Moore. Because Roger
Did
Moore
Connery never
smoked them.
smoke cigars?
I don't know that Connery smoked cigarettes, I think,
Yeah.
in a lot of them.
Mhm.
But Roger Moore was the one that kind of brought cigars to Bond.
Cool.
And then Pierce Brosnan kind of carried it on as well.
Cool.
So Pierce smokes
Does
some,
Daniel Craig
most of
smoke
his.
them?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't notice. I didn't really pay attention that much to those. But Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler, and Christopher McDonald smoke cigars.
Yep.
Heartbreak Ridge, anything with Clint Eastwood is pretty much going to have him
he's
smoke a
got
cigar.
cigars. Yeah.
And I think at that point he knew how to smoke a cigar when he did that one, as opposed to later in his movie career when he stopped
Oh, yeah,
remembering
when the
how to
trouble with
smoke
the curve, and
cigars.
he's
Yeah.
holding it like this. And like, what are you doing?
He's like,
What are you doing?
I'm smoking it like a
Clint
movie.
Eastwood, man. Yeah, all the Man with No Name westerns, he was smoking cigars in those.
Yep, the little cheroots.
Yeah. There was one with Newman smoking a cigar, but I can't remember. Oh, no. He was not smoking a cigar. What was the movie where he was the drunk lawyer and he got
Absence of Malice?
The Verdict,
The Verdict, okay.
which is Bruce Willis's first movie. He's an extra in the courtroom scene.
Oh, yeah?
And you can see him, plain as day, that's Bruce Willis. He has hair and everything.
Oh, yeah?
But I guess he's trying to, I don't know if he's trying to bribe a witness or whatever, but he stops at like a newspaper stand in a train terminal. And I don't know if they call them terminals or train station, whatever it's called. But anyway, he goes to the newspaper stand and he says, "Hey, I need a box of good cigars." Now, this was the early 80s. And the guy's like, "Yeah, here." And he sells them. And you can tell it's a box of Macanudo, which I didn't smoke Macanudos back then. According to Matt, Macanudo in the early 80s, before they switched everything, was actually considered a very good cigar. Not that we don't like Macanudo, but still. But
Yeah.
back in the early 80s, before they switched factories or whatever, that was a great cigar. And so it's kind of funny. Paul Newman's walking around with a box of Macanudo cigars. That's kind of, I remember that scene. It was kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hot Shots! Charlie
yeah.
Sheen
Oh,
and
yeah.
Carrie Elways. And for that matter, Top Gun. You want to go with that, you know? Which is basically anything with Ron Perlman, pretty much, like Hellboy, Hellboy 2, and
Yeah.
all those. You're going to have a lot of cigars in there. So, yeah, cigars are, they're part of everyday media.
Yeah.
You don't see them on television anymore. You don't see them in movies that
Tom
often.
Selleck smokes them on Blue Bloods.
Does he?
The couple
Really?
episodes I've seen, he has a cigar in it. Oh, and
That's
William Shatner and
interesting.
James Spader used to smoke a cigar at the end of Boston Public
At the
or
end of Boston Legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boston Legal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Good point. Good
So
point.
you see him every now and then.
Yeah.
And Tony Soprano smokes cigars.
Yeah, but that's cable.
Yeah, no, but still. TV.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But you sure as hell don't see cigar ads. That's one thing you don't see.
Yeah, you don't see that.
Don't see that anymore.
No.
Unless you watch our show. It's one big ad.
So we talked sex and cigars.
Yep. And next time on the show, we're going to talk about sex in the 90s. And we're also going to talk about sex in horror films.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, because we
yeah.
didn't mention any of the horror films of the 80s.
I
or
had a
90s
couple on the
that
list, but I skipped them because we're going to save that for later.
Yeah.
So
Witchboard's about the only horror film that we mentioned that
yeah.
had it in there.
So that's coming up. So stick with us. Check us out next week or the week after, whenever we decide to come back. It'll probably be
Leave
next
comments. Let us know what you think. If you have any ideas or want to add something to it,
week. Anything you
let
want us
know.
to talk about in particular, let us know, and we'll definitely give it a go.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot. I have no closing for this.
I don't either.